Yes, sir, ski, we're back at it again. Or I am. My boy's not here for today's show, as this is the same kid that refused to leave his room after watching a spooky episode of SpongeBob. So, it was no surprise when I asked if he wanted to review today's flick. I could already hear him double blanking it up. Well, let's get into it. Today's review is A Quiet Place Part 2. A Quiet Place Part 2 is one of the most tense times that you could have outside of those silent rides after a fight with your girl. While it treads on familiar horror tropes, it does everything so well that I didn't care. Quick recap for the newbies. The world is overrun by terrifying creatures that will kill anything that makes a sound. So people move through the world like the G in lasagna, silent. However, Quiet Place Part 2 takes place immediately where the original left off, as we follow what's left of the family from the first. They venture out for a new safe spot to call home, finding out that there's more to fear than just monsters out there. The sequel goes harder than the first, guys. It didn't have to, but it did it for us. There's more action, more drama, and scares to keep everyone satisfied. Most importantly, you're gonna have some dry ass eyes as you won't be able to blink for the next 97 minutes. A Quiet Place 2 really puts the family through the ringer from the opening credits. There was a point early on where I was just thinking, bro, this stress ain't worth it. Pour some dressing on yourself, whistle your way into a monster's stomach, and just call it a year. Emily Blunt as Evelyn Abbott looks genuinely miserable in every scene she's in. She appears about as unhappy and sick of it all as anyone watching the final season of Game of Thrones. She plays the badass but vulnerable mom well. She's not Sarah Connor, instead she's just an average Midwest mom trying to keep her family alive to the next day. If that means shooting a shotgun sometimes in between preparing Lunchables for her kids, so be it. Evelyn takes more of a backseat role this time as her deaf daughter Regan leads the film. Regan, played by Millicent Simmonds, is the heart and soul here. She tries to step up in her father's place and find the family a new home. She's a brave girl doing whatever she thinks it takes to keep the family safe. Her dynamic with the new character Emmett plays very well. Cillian Murphy plays Emmett, a troubled yet complex man. I say complex because I can't gauge if he's a good guy doing bad things or a bad guy that does good things sometimes.
I don't know why you came all the way up here. There's nothing left.
The film is the Last of Us movie gamers have wanted. We don't need it anymore. It can't get any better than this. Regan and Emmett's relationship carries the emotional weight of Part 2, and unlike the Last of Us sequel, this actually lived up to the original, plus more. Director John Krasinski is a master here at keeping the immersive tension throughout the runtime. I legitimately stopped breathing at times as it felt like I was there hiding from the monsters as well. The movie is tight, moving at a fast pace to tell its narrative, and getting out leaving you wanting more. Which is also a problem because the ending kind of left me deflated. A Quiet Place 2 reached the climax only to suddenly end Soprano style. It definitely felt like a part type of movie, as they typically end in what's considered the middle. Not the best sign when a movie that had me breathless for hours makes me go, wait, that's it? As much as I love A Quiet Place Part 2, another glaring issue is the lack of developing a supporting cast. A lot of people get introduced here that ultimately seem just to be monster fodder. Even out of the main cast, Regan is the only one that gets any development. Quiet Place Part 2 is one of my favorite movies of the year so far. It's a brilliant horror film that keeps up the thrills mixed with characters that you actually care about. While it drops the ball in developing them, the narrative is super engaging even if it doesn't reinvent the wheel. I give it 4 terrified screaming kids out of 5. This is the reason to go back to the theater. Finally, it's time for a new reason to be scared of going outside, and A Quiet Place 2 has plenty to give. Later days.